Hi, my name is Skyla Ramirez. Welcome to our Yoga for Everybody Skills in Self-Care session today. Today we are working with opening up the hips, and in opening up the hips, we are also working with stretching the muscles that move diagonal across the body that connect to the shoulders. So let's get started by standing. Finding mountain pose today. We are standing with our feet at about hips width distance, bringing our hands to the heart. Let's first notice where the breath is in the body. As we inhale into the nose, bring the breath down to the belly. Let that breath build all the way up into the chest. Then exhale, relax your chest, relax the ribs, and relax the belly. Inhale into the nose, belly, ribs, heart. Exhale from the throat, as if you're going to follow the mirror. And let that breath go from the heart down to the hips. A couple more. Inhale, this to the heart, and then exhale, empty the lungs from the top down. And just allow yourself to sigh with that breath. Inhale, one more sigh. Keeping the jaw relaxed. There is a connection between the jaw and the hips. When the hips are tight, usually the jaw is tight. If we relax the jaw, we can relax the hips. Let's start from our mountain position, stepping our left foot back, toe to heel. Inhale, open up the arms, palms up, pull the elbows back, lift the chin and open the throat. Exhale, bring it to center, stepping our right foot back. Inhale, open up, both legs are straight, lifting the ribs, opening up the heart. Exhale, center. Let's keep alternating with the breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, step to mountain. Right foot back. Inhale, open. And step to mountain. So we'll keep this flow, warming up the hips, encouraging just a little more blood flow, a little more movement into the hip and the legs. Also lifting and opening up the belly, the heart, and the chest so that we're able to encourage a nice big breath, oxygenating all of that blood that's pumping to our extremities. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Just one more on each side. Inhale, open. Exhale. Exhale from the throat, jaw relaxed. Let's step our left foot back. This time keeping a bend in the right knee. Inhale, reach the arms straight up overhead. Finding warrior one, looking straight ahead, lower the chin. Maybe even close the eyes and tune into the breath around the ribs and the armpits. Reaching at the top of the breath as we inhale. Exhale, the armpits will retract. They'll relax the arms a little. One more. Keep that bend in the right knee. Inhale, reach. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, swan diving. Taking the arms out to the side, coming down about a quarter of the way. Let's place the hands down on our right thigh, straightening out that right leg and the left leg. Pushing the hips back as we lower the chest down just a little more, digging into the sides and the backs of our hip joints here. Inhale, lengthen the spine, stretch the ribs up and over that front right knee. On the exhale, lower down, maybe even let the head hang loose, just a little bit of an inversion to create just some healthy traction in the neck. Let's shake the head yes, and turn it left and right. To safely come up, let's bend our right knee, walking both hands up onto the right thigh. Inhale, reverse swan dive, big inhale. From here, exhale, hands to the heart, stepping to center, taking our right foot back, inhaling, reaching the arms overhead, keeping that healthy bend in the left knee, warrior one pose. Looking straight ahead, breathing from the armpits, lowering the chin, closing the eyes. One more big inhale. Exhale, swan diving about a quarter of the way down, keeping that little bend in the front knee for now. Continue to lengthen the heart and chest over the front knee. Let's place both hands down on that left thigh, straightening the left leg maybe a little more, and using the hands to gently guide the chest down a little more, pressing the hips back, maybe even feeling a spread along the low back and hip region. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, completely relax. Maybe the hands walk down the leg, maybe a hand or two touches the floor. Let's relax the neck and the head, shake it out. To come up safely, we walk our hands up onto the shin or thigh and bend the left knee. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Stepping forward, finding mountain pose. From here, let's inhale the arms up and overhead. Nice big reach. From here, reaching up just a little more with the left hand. Let's lower the right arm down, reaching for the outside of that right foot, lengthening straight up towards the sky, and maybe just a little rotation in that left hand as if we're going to reach to change out a light bulb. We're reaching straight up, big inhale, and then exhale, relax that arm down. When you're ready, slowly reach both arms up again, big inhale. Continuing to reach with the right arm, we're lowering the left arm down this time, reaching for the outside of the left foot. This time we are putting in the light bulb, just a little bit of rotation with that right hand as if you're going to screw in a light bulb. Big inhale, reach, and now exhale, both hands down. From here, to get into the hips a little more, let's touch our heels together and open the toes out to the side, keeping a soft bend in the knees. The knees are moving in the same direction as our toes. From here, with the knees bent, hands at the waist, we're lifting our left heel, sweeping the left foot behind the right foot so that the left toes may just be able to graze against the outside of the right foot. Let's straighten the right leg, straighten the left leg, bend the right knee. As we bend our right knee, we're allowing that left hip to push out to the left. We might lean over to the right a little bit, keeping that right knee bent, getting into the outside of the hip joint and into glute medius muscles. From here, let's keep our right hand at the hip or waist for support, opening up the left palm. Inhale, sweep that arm back and around. Let's pat ourselves on the back, pulling up and out of the armpit and ribs. Maybe look over the right shoulder in this stretch. Inhale, and maybe just gently direct the breath to move under the left armpit. Inhale, open. Exhale, notice a softening under that left shoulder blade. Two more here. On the next exhale, let's slowly take that left arm up, reaching to the sky. Left hand comes to the left hip. Shifting forward, we bend both knees and bring our left foot around, heels touching, toes out to the side. Knees bending, keeping those knee joints soft. We see the knees move in the same direction as our toes. Let's lift our right heel, sweeping the right foot back. The toes of the right foot are just gently grazing against the left heel or the outside of the left foot. Let's already here, we may notice that the stretch is shifting into the right hip. Allow that right hip to just sort of jet out to the side and then lean a little bit over to the left with the trunk of the body. Opening the right hand, inhale, sweep it overhead. Let's pat ourselves on the back, bending the right arm. Inhale, pull up with the right elbow and armpit. Turning our head over to the left. 3 big inhales into that space under the right armpit. Exhale is soft. Exhale is very passive. Inhale. Lots of power in that inhale. Soft on the exhale. One more. To safely come out, let's bring our body to neutral. Slowly take that right arm, hand to the waist. Let's shift forward. Both knees bent. Bringing the right foot around. We can turn our toes to center and shake off the legs. Standing with our feet wide now, moving a little more into those outer hips and into the inside of the hip that can get really tight. Let's keep both toes forward for now as we move into a straddle foundation. From the straddle foundation, inhale, pull the elbows back, and maybe even lace the fingers behind you by the low back, or we could always keep the hands at the hips, maybe even knuckles by the low back, palms open. Inhale into the center of the chest and pull up the ribs. Big breath in, looking up and opening the throat. Exhale, relax. Big inhale, lots of power in this breath, encouraging a back bend. One more. From here, let's take both hands onto the waist or hips. Lifting our right toe, we'll pivot on the heel, turning the right toe out to the side, keeping the left toe forward. Let's bend the right knee just a little bit. And we might even just want to bend and straighten a few times, just so we're stretching the muscles on the inside of the hip. There are muscles on the inside of the hip that connect around to the back spine, and other muscles on the inside of the hip and a fascia that goes all the way up and around to the left shoulder. From here, keeping that right knee bent, let's take the arms out, holding the arms at shoulder height, looking over the right fingertips, warrior two pose. Turning the right palm up. As we inhale, we reach straight up with the right arm. Lower the left hand down, reaching for the outside of that left foot. We continue to lengthen straight up with the body, avoiding the urge to lean back into it, using a lot of spine control here. One more big inhale, breathe into that right lung. Exhale, bending the right arm, shifting forward. We can straighten that right leg and maybe put the right hand or the right elbow on the right thigh. The lower we go, the bigger the stretch on the outside of the left hip. From wherever we are with this, let's now work with the placement of the left hand, reaching that arm up as if you're waving at someone walking towards you. Slowly begin to rotate the thumb in, bend the elbow. Let's bring the knuckles of the left hand to the low back. On the next inhale, we're lifting that left shoulder and pulling it back a little more, creating a bigger twist in our triangle pose. Breathing mostly into the upper left lung. Inhale here. Exhale, hold. 2 more. To safely come out, we take our left hand to the hip or waist, bend the right knee, drawing that right hand up onto the thigh, and then coming up, warrior two pose, resetting the spine and the hips, looking over the right shoulder and beyond the right fingertips, maybe even closing the eyes, working on a little bit of balance and stabilization. There's energy moving into the soles of the feet, up the legs, into the hip joints. Big inhale across the chest. Exhale, let the hands come down to the hips. Let's do that sequence on the other side. Lifting the right toe, pivot at the heel, right toe forward. Lifting the left toe, pivot that toe open. So we're opening or externally rotating the left hip. Let's make sure that knee joint is properly lubricated, moving forward and back a little bit, encouraging some of those healthy joint fluids to bathe the knee joints. Holding that left knee in a pretty conservative bend. We'll open up the arms for warrior two, this time looking over the left shoulder and past the left fingertips. Maybe closing the eyes to steady the breath in the body. Notice, where does the breath go all on its own? Let's turn the left palm up, bringing the right hand to the hip, reaching straight up with that left arm, reaching down with the right hand, avoiding the urge to lean back, instead reaching with the arms dynamically, up with the left, reaching down and back with the right, keeping that bend in our right knee. Breathe into that upper left lung, big inhale. Exhale, soften, at least 2 more big inhales. On the next exhale, let's lower that left hand down to our left thigh, right hand to the hip. Straightening the left leg, allowing the energy to push back into the outside of that externally rotated, also on the right hip. From here, we may want to stay with our left hand on the left thigh, or we could always explore this movement a little more by lowering the left elbow onto the left thigh. Again, the lower we go, chances are the more we are going to stretch the outside of the hip. Let's inhale that right arm up, waving as if someone's walking towards us. And then turn the thumb in, bending the arm, knuckles by the low back, working on the twist in the pose. Inhale, drawing that right shoulder back, swiveling at the waist. We might look up, straight ahead, or down at the floor. Breathing now into the upper right lung, into the front of the chest. Relaxing the jaw. To safely come out of the pose, right hand slides to the right hip, bending our left knee. We slowly come up onto the left hand if we're not there already, and then come all the way up, aligning the spine. Let's open the arms up, establishing a neutral spine with a strong foundation, warrior two, looking over the left fingertips or closing the eyes. Tune into the breath, maybe even finding the 3-part breath our class began with today. Breathing low into the belly, through the ribs, up to the heart. Exhaling, relax the heart, relax the ribs, relax the belly. Just one more. Let's lower our hands to our waist, pivoting the left toe forward. For this hip stretch, we're going to target glute medius around the hip. So glute maximus, the buttocks muscles that we sit on, can get tight, but usually not as tight as glute medius. Tinier muscles on the sides of the buttocks that wrap into the outer hip area. And usually when that gets tight, also the piriformis is tight. and the IT band is tight. So we're going to target that with a unique stretch today. So staying in our straddle stance, we can stay right here, and already we may feel something. If we want to experiment today, we could always turn the toes in and the heels out. So it looks like we're pigeon-toed, but we're actually completely internally rotating the larger femur bone, the lower leg bones to the feet. So it's just been a complete leg rotation in on each side to open and stretch glute medius. So from the side, this is what it might look like. So from here, hands to the hips or on the waist. Let's push the hips back, pushing back through the hips and tailbone, keeping the legs straight. Some lineages of yoga will ask you to lock the joints out in this pose. I recommend for safety's sake, you keep what we call a micro bend. So you can actually make just a little bit of a bounce in the knees. That means that there is space in the knee joints. That means that the cushioning of the knee joint is not being stressed out. So from this position with our pigeon toe or internal rotation and forward fold, take in a breath. And now exhale, lower a little more. Hands might be on the shins. They could be on the back of a chair, on a desk or wall. Let's allow the hands to hang loose. Relax the head and neck. Practice at least 3 really exaggerated exhales here from the throat. One more. To safely come out of this one, let's walk our hands up to the shins, straighten the arms, and maybe just gently turn the heels in and the toes out. Bend the knees a little bit, then walk the hands up the legs, safely realigning the spine. Let's shake out our legs and our knees. To close our session today, let's balance that hip energy with a little bit of chest and shoulder work. It connects diagonal and also from the sides to the hip joint. So we've done a lot of side work today to target that connection. What we need to work on a little more is the diagonal connection. From wherever you are in your seated position, let's scoot to the edge of a chair. Inhale, sweep the left arm back and around, reach up and pat yourself on the back. Take the right hand, sweep it behind you, knuckles to the low back. From here, inhale, pull up and maybe press your right hip down into the chair while you imagine pulling across with that left armpit. Option to hold it here, or maybe begin to twist just a tiny bit towards the left. Continue to press the energy down into that right hip while we swivel and twist over to the left, opening the left armpit and looking to the left as well. One inhale into that upper left lung. Exhale, slowly bring it to center. Let's release that left hand down to the low back. Inhale, bringing the right arm up and overhead, patting ourselves on the back. These are called cow's face arms. Push down into the left hip. Inhale, open the right armpit. Maybe even look to the right. Adding in a gentle twist with this. Inhale, drawing that right shoulder back, swiveling at the waist. Keep pressing that left hip down and back. One more big breath into the right lung. Big breath in. And exhale, come to center. Gently release that right arm. Let's find a little symmetry in the body to close. Inhale, sweeping both arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. 2 more like this. Scooping up the breath. Pressing into the palms. Press into the center of the chest. 1 more. Inhale. Press into the palms. Press down to the center of the chest. Bowing the head. Breathing into the backs of the lungs. Let's practice breathing into the back of the lungs. Just 3 easy breaths. Breathe into the low back, middle back. Breathe into the places under your shoulder blades and under the armpits. This is a breath that we practice, especially useful for helping with lymphatic drainage in the backs of the lungs. Especially useful if we know that our job requires us to sit back in a chair. Just 1 more breath. Move it through the backs of the lungs. And now exhale, relax. Lower the hands. From here, we can bow together in closing. Namaste. Go enjoy your beautiful day, and I will see you next time.